So in this video, I'm going to be talking about P5 Ruby. This is the current build I have with her. I'm going to be talking about which characters are good with her, which characters go horrible with her, um, and the kind of builds you can kind of create here that make her viable, and if she's worth the P5. Personally, I don't think you need to get it to Prestige 5 to get real benefit from her. All you have to do is get her to P1. And that's for this, the Soul Eater ability. Now, a lot of people forget this, but it actually increases stamina regeneration. So, max stamina regeneration is increased to 24%, cooldown reductions to 35% from 25, which is very big for certain characters, and I'll go over those characters later. The damage is increased from 20 to 24%, and max damage reduction is increased from 20 to 24%. Now, as you can tell here, she kind of does everything, just with the aura here. Now, I haven't done testing myself on how much of an increase for damage it is that die within her aura, but I heard when you have max 50 souls, it's an extra 10% in damage. So that would be from 14% to 24%, I believe. So it's actually pretty good to use your aura blast here, Lilith's Curse, in certain situations. And I'll talk about those situations later on. Now, Ruby is arguably the best leader out of all of them, right? Leader Ash is okay, excels at certain things. Annie is good, but only helps with range and balance bar, which is probably the second best leader. Arthur's only melee, so he's not going to do anything for the hunters or support really. And Brock is just excels at everything and nothing at the same time. I think they need to rework him for him to be actually viable. But if he's reworked, he's actually better than Ruby because of everything that he provides and his ability itself. Like he would be Henry mixed with Ruby at the same time. So it's kind of hard to buff Brock. That's why I think he's one of the worst leaders. So Ruby and her build. I expect her into range damage. I think that's the best. If you see most Rubies, they kind of go with something like this, and then use the last skill point for cardio. Actually, put this in your cardio, and then put 2 points into, or 2 points into this. And the reason you have this is so that you can solo the point, and I got feared off against certain demons. Cardio is good, I feel like, for leaders if you rush the objective. It's good for survivability too. It's needed for Brock, but not really Ruby. Really, you just need Artful Dodger, and you just backpedal and dodge the units till you get to a safe area. So I think really 3 in Reduce Fear No Evil is the best. The problem with this is that it feels pointless to spec into because one of our abilities, which gives her fear resistance, and you take less damage from possession. The demon loses infernal energy at a very fast rate, and then you get health regen. So it doesn't feel very useful to spec into Fear No Evil. The problem is Ball is a character in this game that does damage from fear. And if you're marked and have high fear, this seasoned survivor basic is not really going to do that much for you. I don't spec into the elites because most elites are very slow and easy to dodge. So there's so much things to talk about Ruby because she's the best leader, right? The only thing she doesn't do is give fear resistance, which is Leader Ash. But the only reason Leader Ash is good is for that early game rush. And so he's good, since he's good for the early game rush, there's certain perks you want to have for him, which is fast forward. That way you can go to the last objective while the demon's low. Ruby's very good at the long game. And the characters she's very good with are characters that benefit from cooldown reduction and damage resistance, right? So all the warriors here are going to be benefiting from the damage resistance. So she pairs very well with them, as long with the damage increase and the stamina regen. So they're able to dodge more. Most warriors don't dodge, but if you got a good warrior in team that knows how to dodge, that's perfect. Ruby's a wonderful character to go with. Also with hunters, their whole survivability revolves around dodging, and they're very squishy. So what does she provide? Damage reduction, and they increase the range damage that she puts out. All these hunters, and especially Hunter Ash, his cooldown reduction on his ability, and same with Amanda and Kelly. Like, she's like, when they were creating Ruby on paper, like, I don't think they really thought it through, like how much she does for certain classes. I think the only really people that doesn't really benefit from her are supports. Yes, you get to reduce fear with support Ash more. Yes, Cheryl gets her ability so she doesn't have to use his Shemp as much, but her ability heals very slowly. It's not an instant heal, so sometimes it's not good against certain characters. Pablo, I feel like is the only character that doesn't really pair well with Ruby because she can't use ambulance. And I mean, the meta when she first came out was David and Ruby because of all the damage resistance that both of them can apply. But now there's a damage reduction cap, so yet he's still good because his Beacon of Hope ability comes back faster. I think it's 10 seconds faster. And same with Blacksmith. You can boost Blacksmith's damage to warrior damage. So you could literally run Ruby, and I've lost to this team comp, Ruby, Blacksmith, and another healer, and then a hunter or a warrior. That's possible thanks to Ruby. And that's not, you can't do that with any other leader, unless if you rush objectives. Alright, you could do a 3 leader comp and then a support, and that'd work, but not 2 support and a leader and... Like, you can't run Blacksmith, Arthur, and then a support. Even because Arthur's only for melee damage, and he doesn't put out enough range damage, which Ruby does. I've literally gotten 1,000 to... I'm doing 100 damage with Ruby, thanks to her aura. Like, the only reason you should get her to Prestige 5 is because she has the same thing that demons have, right? Those extra 5 points are actually very good. So normally, let's take off 4 points here, right? This is all you would have. This is what you would run for survivability. And then you take a point out of here of cardio. So you would have this. That way you could just chain finishers while still buffing up your team. But now I'm able to do range damage and do tons of damage with Ruby. And the reason she's excelling so much is because she's for the long game. Right? She has to have time to set up. And that's how most players play. Is they take their time to loot when they should be just rushing the demon. The only demon you don't rush is Ball and Pup. There's no reason to rush those two. I mean, it's kind of good to rush Pup, because if he's under level at book, there's going to be less explosions and you could win during book phase. But the real leader that you want to like rush objectives is Leader Ash, because it keeps everybody's fear down. So he has the same thing that Ed has when you first like start off in this game, like when there were only 3 demons. Ed was all about preventing fear and preventing levels, and that's what Leader Ash is made for. The problem is this playstyle doesn't work anymore. But it's funny that I talk about Ed is because Ed is a wonderful choice to go with Ruby. And you're like, what? So you get his flashlight ability? No, it's because the RNG and chest are better. So he's going to get more pink Fs and be able to spec in to our aura sooner than later. So the first one you get is cooldown reduction. The second aura is damage reduction. The third one is damage increase. So Ed, in this sense, is very good. Now, I normally would spec my Ed very different than the way I have here. I would, if I knew I was running with a known Ruby player, I would have it like this. That way I'd get my ability faster and I'd be able to disarm traps way more frequently. But unfortunately, I don't run with a Ruby player, and honestly, I don't want to. I mean, I kind of do. I have a friend that's a Ruby player, but Ruby has this problem. I don't know if any other people experience it playing her, but running with a team, she becomes very boring to use. And the reason for that is because since she can do everything, you feel like you're kind of overpowered. Like when I'm Hunter, I'm like, oh, I'm squishy, I gotta dodge, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But when I play Ruby, I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter if something hits me. It's whatever. Oh, I'll just shoot my gun. Oh, I'm just gonna melee here instead. Like, you have so much survivability and so much damage output with Ruby that, I mean, I guess it makes sense. You feel like you're in the demon world, right? You're just running on Infernal Energy. The fact that she gets her health back too, like, she regenerates health, so even when you get a Ruby low, like, she's not going to stay low as demon. So that's kind of like, there's no reason to drink a champ either, you know? Honestly, like, the only thing she doesn't provide for her team is fear reduction or fear resistance. So that's why some people were running Ruby and Leader Ash with a support Ash and a Hunter, preferably Hunter Ash, because then they'll be getting that fear resistance as well and the fear reduction from support Ash. But most teams just need a Ruby and they'll be fine. I mean, to this day, demons still hate seeing Ruby being played. Because yes, she was nerfed, but not to a point where it was noticeable. Like, obviously, you can't just run a Ruby anymore. Like, you need support. Because back in the day, the damage reduction was so ridiculous that you didn't even need to run a support with Ruby. But yeah, honestly, this here, I haven't used it yet. I'm talking preemptively here. So the cooldown reduction is from 60 to 55. Maximum charge is still 70. It does a little bit more damage, and then the health it restores the same. Lilith's Curse is not really used for the damage on the possessed unit. It's used for balance bar. So it's very good to use during book phase. And I've won games because of this Aura Blast. Because it's able to rock the balance bar or destroy the unit entirely. So it's very key, you know, when to use it. and I'm still learning the timing. To be honest, like I said, she got very bored, played, so I actually skipped. I used all my points that I was making from playing Demon to skip all these challenges, which I normally would be playing this through. I did a lot of skipping through it because of how, after Prestige level 1, because of how boring she felt. Like, it felt like, because most of the time I'm like, okay, I gotta get all the pink Fs. Like, my whole job was just to loot. Loot in the beginning until my ore is maxed out and get a good weapon. And that's not my playstyle. I don't like to rush demons, but I like to just get enough pink Fs. Like, for Hunter, get enough pink Fs for fear resistance and stamina, and then I'll make up the range during the end game. And I'll pick up whatever weapon I want. But with like Ruby, you have to get a specific weapon, preferably a grenade launcher. Explosive crossbow, its blast radius I feel like is smaller than the grenade launcher. So let's talk about the demons she is good against. So the demons she's good against. Necro is she's a very good counter to Necro, and that's because of Aura Blast. When he goes for Book and he plays Flautist and then summons all his units, you already want to have your aura charged up and ready to explode. Good necromancers will wait for your ability to go off and then summon everything. So you have to time it right. So normally you would, once you hear Flautist being placed, that's when you use your aura ability. You, as Ruby, do not go for the Flautist. I've seen Ruby players go for Flautist. You provide damage reduction to your team. You need damage reduction when Flautist is out. Your support needs to go for Flautist. So, once Evil Ash is dead, that's when you can release your War Blast, because he's gonna have his Resurrection ability up. So everyone needs to be just trying to burn through boss. You also increase damage, so you need to be there. Alright, Book. Puppeteer, good against Puppeteer. Damage resistance is key. Same with Warlord. Once again. Now, Plague and Ball. Yes. You're good against them as well. But you don't have the same power you do against the other 3 demons. Yes, you don't get to possess as much as with Ball, but you take more resistance because your fear is higher with Ball, and there's nothing really you can counter that as Ruby. And when you're marked by the Schemer, you take a lot of damage. So you're taking like normal damage against Ball, even with the spec in to reduce damage from basics. Plague, the elites, they can 50-50 you if you don't know how to dodge. And also Blight. Blight is powerful against you as well. Yeah, Witch is not that bad against you. You can outrun that. But it's really just like all the elites. If he gets like a ton of elites out on point, that's when you start having a problem. So, yes. There's just like so much in Ruby's kit that it's so hard to like remember everything. Another thing with Soul Eater is depending on what unit you killed and how you kill it depends on how many souls you get. If you kill an elite, I think it's 2 souls, counts as 2 souls, and if it's a boss, I think it counts as 5. People have been telling me that headshots also count, headshot kills count for extra souls, and also finishers. In my testing, I have not seen the finishers or headshots. And I think the problem is It's based on the aura level, right? So you want your aura a little bit of big here. You can honestly just do this if you want as well, just because it's everything that dies in her aura. So I think what happens is people kill something and then something dies in the aura, and they think it's more than one. But I did testing against an elite, well, just elite, next to me, and it was more than boss was too. So yeah, I think that's all I have to talk about. We talk about quick study a little bit. This is good. This does not boost because of your team. So in the beginning, when Ruby first came out, people thought like, "Oh, I need to get range damage kills to boost my team's range damage here." Quick study only works on her. So as you can see, yeah, people have probably an evil unit with a ranged weapon increases her range damage, right? So this is why the grenade launcher is good for her, is because she can get multiple kills on a basic with just one shot. So she's not really wasting ammo. There's other things that people do here. Do this so that they can carry more ammo as well. But yeah, I'll stick with this build, and I'll show you some gameplay after this. And to be honest, I feel like it's going to be some boring gameplay because that's how it feels like when you play Ruby. So thanks for everything, and I'll see you later. So this is the game where I'm going Ruby. I chose to show this game because of the team comp we have and the demon we went up against. The demon we went up against wasn't the best, but I really thought this team comp was good and really kind of shows where Ruby excels. So the demon we go up against is Necromancer, and we are on Castle Kandar. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be boosting the blacksmith's damage and Scotty's damage with his collateral damage, and I'm also going to get my aura faster thanks to Ed and the chests that are going to be available. Uh, Ruby is played for the long game. She's not like most other leaders. She needs to build up her aura, and the faster you do that, the faster you could progress with the game. The first aura you get is for cooldown reduction. The second one is damage resistance, and the third is damage increase. So normally, leader, you can kind of max out your stamina and then go get the map pieces for your team, or same with hunter. Fear resistance and stamina, and then go for map pieces. But um, in the situation, I am just looking for a grenade launcher for book phase. But you'll see here later on that I don't really use the grenade launcher. I also test damage numbers for ranges just so you could see what kind of damage you could put out. Now I'm only expecting to into two for headshot instead of the three, so I only get 10% increase to headshot damage, not 15. So take that as you will. Um, Most people don't even spec into that because they just run a grenade launcher and they think that any other weapon is fine. Depending on what demon you go against, grenade launcher is very good against Necromancer. We do have an Ed, so an explosive crossbow you could use as well. I prefer that he use a blunderbuss or something, a hunting rifle, just so he can get a lot of damage on Evil Ash during the book phase. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I am taking it very easy here. I'm just looking for chests. I'm not worried about map pieces. Not worried about anything. And the way I have my build, I literally can take hits and not really worried about damage. I'm not worried about dodging. Like I have a warrior's health and uh, hunter's stamina and hunter damage. So, like I said, Ruby feels overpowered when you play her, and as demon, it feels overpowered to go against as well. Not to mention the stamina regen she gets. Like I said, it takes a while to set up with Ruby. I'm trying my best to get as many pink caps and as much ammo as possible. Um, my team is going for map pieces while I'm just looting, and I'm just taking my time. Yep, it's really hard to down Ruby, so I'm not even worried about if the demon finds me. Now, you could spec your pink F any way you want after you spec into stamina. As soon as you can spec into aura, though, you should do that as well. So I was surprised that there wasn't a treasure chest there. So I just kept going up the stairs to get the last treasure chest. And then I see the map piece, so I mark it so my teammates can get it. I couldn't look over the edge, so unfortunately I just told them it was on the south side. And so now I'm just specking to few resistance. Like I said, with Ruby, it doesn't really matter if you get possessed because the demon will lose a lot of infernal energy at a very quick pace. Um, and you get your health back anyways, so you don't lose as much health as other survivors when you get possessed. So, if anything, I should be specking into range, health, and melee before. And this game, I'm literally being a shipper for weapons. So I found this black lumberjack axe. I'm not going to keep it. I'm going to give it to Biscotti, who has a mastery. And I'm taking the blunderbuss, and I'm going to give it to, as you see, possessed there. But there's not that much infernal energy in this area, so I just literally run away from him. And he gets depossessed right there. I do a lot of finishes this game. You don't really have to do finishers with Ruby, or not like other leaders, but I just do it because it looks cool. So this is where I start trading weapons for to people. I'm personally looking for a hunting rifle, um, just so I could see the damage numbers for a hunting rifle. Because the last time I used it, I got like 1,000 damage just for a headshot. Um, and like I said, I'm just switching weapons right there because they're going to benefit from my aura more than I am. I thought I didn't go up there. Like I said, I'm trying to power up my aura right here. My team is going to Smithy to get the last map piece, and we're planning to start the objective here. That's why we're heading to the car. So we look at the map and we see that Fort Gort is one of the locations. So we decided to go to Fort Gort first because with Necromancer, it's important to do the objective that's not farthest away from Dark Ones, but the one where you can place Flautist, location where you won't be able to get to it. And right now we're gonna look for the chest here before we go there, because the demon is under level. Like I said, this demon is not really engaging with us, and there is a reason why. Uh, we're taking our time because of it. Um, the repeating crossbow or any crossbow has a very interesting problem with it. It's when you shoot up from up close, it doesn't register that they're right in front of you, and it throws off the bolt that gets shot, so it goes wildly off aiming. So it's never good to use the crossbow at close range. Um, so I'm using crossbow, explosive crossbow here, but it's a blue. But then I remember that my hunter is using special, so I need to drop this crossbow and use long gun or something else. Sometimes the chest spawn's over there, so I'm checking that out. Um, just leveling up, trying to get my aura, and see, since we have an add-on team, we have a better chance with this. And now we have a legendary lumberjack axe, and I'm going to drop this for the Scotty. So this is why this is a good team comp, is because the damage output you can put out, and then thanks to Ed, you can get better legendary weapons, or you're more likely to get legendary weapons. And now my aura is maxed out, and it took me 8 minutes to max out my aura, thanks to Ed. So now I'm dropping this, it rolls down, and I'm actually going to give the purple to Blacksmith, because my Ruby isn't spec'd into melee. And so he's going to benefit more from this Lumberjack Axe than I am. So the reason I said we start this point first is because, as you can see, the pages are right next to the tower on the west side. So if we do have an Ed, and Ed's very good against Necromancer because you can disarm those traps, as you can see. I'm telling him to kind of run in front of me after that so he can disarm all these traps. Normally you would wait for point and then have Ed do this so that he could go for a Flawless in here. But a good Necromancer will actually place proxy portals near this kind of area or on the stairs so you can lock getting the Flautist. And you can summon boss behind as well. And so now I have a blue Sledgehammer, which is perfect for balance bar. And like I said, I'm expecting to range, so my balance bar for melee is non-existent. So a mace sledge is perfect for me, just to make up for the balance bar that I'm not expecting to. So here we go. We start the objective, and now I'm just leveling up the rest of my my things here. I'm literally just turned my brain off, to be honest. That's why I'm swinging at nothing. So there goes Flautist. I'm dropping everything I have for the rest of my team. The Flautist was over there by Goldtooth Canyon, so they were able to shoot it. Like I said, if it was an experienced necromancer, he would have put it in that tower and saved his proxy portals to place there, and then kind of wait for like halfway on the point to actually start doing things. So because of the weapons we have, he's dying really fast. It's got him with a legendary lumberjack axe and a blacksmith with a purple lumberjack axe. And you're going to see his boss die very quickly. And he kind of got like, there is like a lag when you possess a survivor, so that's why he was kind of standing there. And it takes a while for it to register that he's possessed. But once he was possessed, he didn't know what direction he was facing. As you see, he's just dying too quickly, thanks to my aura and the weapons that we have here. Now, in this team comp, the only person that's actually benefiting from my cooldown reduction is the Ed. Scotty's ability isn't that good, and Blacksmith's ability can be used whenever. Like it doesn't even need a cooldown. He just needs a certain amount of scrap to craft the rarity of weapon that he wants. So there's another blue sledge. We have perfect balance bar weapons for book phase. Um, if I was Annie, he would not even stand a chance to do anything. But yeah, the damage we're putting out is perfectly adequate to win on book. And during book phase, I make a lot of mistakes because the demon doesn't really know what he's doing. But like he knows where to put Flatus, but he doesn't know the proper summonings to sort of really go at a book. And with Necro, you have to use your units as shields when you summon Evil Ash, so that they're actually hitting the units instead of you. And we have a huge light source here, so our fear should not go up at all. Let's see, explosive crossover again. I'm trying to get a headshot here, but you're going to see me like fail miserably, and my team is kind of just gung ho on destroying units. So I decided to leave this area and then go up to Windmill to go see what the damage numbers are for a blue blunderbuss and my build and the aura. So this is me leaving now. Um, like I said, the demon wasn't really doing that much, so I thought to myself like, okay, it's fine, just so I could show it for the video, like the kind of numbers you're doing, and I could loot here a little bit. I didn't know there was a unit chasing me, so uh, yeah, I miss. I'm an awful shot, and then yep, miss again. So 864 for a headshot, and this is for a body shot, 484. So you can see like you're almost doing 100 damage just by yourself. You're about like 200 damage away, and that's very close in numbers. Like if you have like a full warrior team, you could be the essential hunter. And like I said, I missed my shot. I'm kind of just have my brain turned off right now, and I decided to drop the balloon bus because there's no point of having it. I'm not going to be using it, and I don't want to take up the ammo. I don't really use the revolver either here. Like I said, I'm missing horribly. So 557 for a headshot with a revolver, which is a crazy number for a leader. And I'm already maxed out on pickups thanks to Ed. So I didn't even need that chest. So we go to the dark ones here, and the demon got very unlucky on the objectives here. Now, in this situation, since the support doesn't have a gun, I would say that the hunter would have to go for the flautist. Just in case like the flautist was in a very far distance, because blacksmith would have to run up to it to actually destroy flautist. It would be easier for the hunter. And we have Scotty with a legendary lumberjack axe, so it could do focus damage on Evil Ash. And I see the flautist here, and I saw him place it, so I'm just shooting it and dealing with it now. And it's very important to clear out the units before you actually finish the dark ones here. I'm shooting. Oh, my aim is so bad. Now I'm looking at it. And I think I even said something when I was playing, like, "Oh my god, I may not use this gameplay because of my aim being so bad right now. I don't know why." So I take a hit for my teammate right here, so they can get the heal off. And I'm just shooting away at the shield instead of hitting the head there. And you gotta hate the dark ones, right? They keep knocking your aim off. I'm missing all my shots. See, I miss all my shots, and we're still able to pull out a win. So yeah, we drop all our supplies here for our teammates and ammo that we're not using. I use my ability here because Evil Ash is coming out. And see, this is where he makes the mistake. He didn't use here, and then so Evil Ash is dead, so I use my blast so it takes out all the units. And now he has nothing here except a stray elite and a stray basic. Now, the reason he probably didn't use Flatus there is because his cooldown was still not done. Because he does place Flatus again. What he should have done was waited for his Flatus and then summon everything, and just possess the things that are coming to Book. And so we both hear Flatus here, so me and Scotty go, but that's probably like the worst idea. But again, we both go anyways because we think to ourselves, like, he already used boss, so the only thing he could really do is like summon an elite. And we have Blacksmith with a purple axe and also a blunderbuss blue for our hunter. So we thought, whatever, it doesn't matter. We already won this. Like, it was already obvious we won this. So now we're kind of just messing around, waiting for book phase to be done. This is kind of how it goes with Necro. After a certain time, it's like, if he doesn't get the book to a certain health with Evil Ash, he's not going to win on book. And now we're just letting the units hit book because there's no point of stopping them, to be honest. We already won. So, yeah, as I was saying, this is kind of how Ruby is when you play her. Kind of very slow play style, but it's very, I won't say rewarding, but you're rewarded for playing that way. As you can see, we were able to put out a ton of damage here, just because of all the weapons we had. So yeah, thanks for watching the video. I'll post another video about a P5, probably about David or Reed or Ash. Thanks for watching.